We are starting soon.
Hello and welcome back to the Album Book Club. Tonight we are reviewing Y'all by Glaive. This is an alternative album that came out in 2025. I believe in September, right? Yeah, September 25th. There's a lot of hyperpop themes on this album, and I believe it was suggested to us by Hayes.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the suggestion, and let's start off the review by getting into our top three. My top three were Benny and Kay, Bluebirds, and We Don't Leave the House.
Mine was Bluebirds, Benny and Kay, and Fuck.
Mine was Fuck, We Don't Leave the House, and 9.
Mine was Benny and Kay, Bluebirds, and Polo Ponies.
I am not remembering Benny and Kay. What was that?
That was the last song.
The last one.
Okay, sure, man. We'll get to it. It was not my bottom, if that's what
Okay.
you're thinking.
Well, let's get into our bottom tracks. My bottom track was Appalachia.
Weird.
Weird.
Fuck.
Ooh.
Oh, we're going to have some fighting. Well, let's get into our individual reviews, starting with track number 1, Asheville. I gave this track a 5.75 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 4.
Fair enough. Just off rip, not super into this genre, not super for me music, but there are a lot of interesting effects going on. They aren't used super well. I think they could use a lot of work. But there are a lot of fun sections in this song. That being said, there are still a lot of off-putting sections. The vulgarity gets a little bit old, especially towards the end. It kind of lyrically just falls flat as the song goes on, and the beat just kind of turns out all right. It was kind of cool in the beginning, but it just didn't go anywhere, so it also kind of ends up falling flat.
Yeah, I was kind of weirded out at first. Seems like it'd be better in my car, which it was. How deep some of those bassy notes hits kind of makes me think of like club music or techno or hardstyle or whatever. That like buh, buh, buh. So yeah.
He coughed to the beat you did.
So it did hit a little better in my car, I thought.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree that this is built for car speakers. We've had a couple recent albums like that, and this is just another one to throw into the pile. Jump scared me a little bit in the intro. I have a little bit of issue with the distortion that's on the bass, but it's a genre thing. I'm not the biggest fan of like the EDM hyperpop. The first 3 tracks kind of do it a lot here, and it's just a little out of genre for me. I didn't really have any individual issues with like each sound that was used on its own. It's just kind of, as a whole, it was okay. Not something that I would turn on myself, but it was all right.
Bro, this was bun. It's just music for like a middle schooler. And that's cool, man. I may bum to this if I'm in England in the 7th grade. But that's about the only context I can think of dealing with this much vulgarity, like this shallow of lyrical choices and all that. There's not much going on here. The beat's fine. It's nothing to write home about. There's a cool sample or a female friend of the writer that says, "Are you for real?" a couple times, and that is frankly where all my points came from, because it's like, that's the best part of this song.
All right, are we ready to get into track number 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is my bottom song, Appalachia. I gave it a 4.75 out of 10.
I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 5.5.
I gave it a 4.
Yeah, I got really lost in this one. I kind of didn't know what was going on. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. The like weird country accent thing going on kind of throughout the song, but mainly like towards the end is really weird. The backing vocals end up sounding odd with whatever like inverse effect they have going on them or how they've layered them. It all just kind of fits together like a misshapen puzzle. It was just okay for me.
I don't know. I guess I kind of dig that weirdness. Feel like I should have glow sticks. Thought it was a little easier to get into. Not in a bad way, but some of the sounds of the keyboard made me think of Gene's keyboard in Bob's Burgers, minus the fart noises, of course. So I hope he isn't saying terrible things. He sounds fine enough, but he's hard to understand without really focusing. The computer hillbilly was fun.
I must have missed the country parts of this song because it definitely would have helped the score of a track later if I knew it was anywhere else in the album. This song, actually, a lot of the things that Dave said in a positive tone are what's going to be my negatives here, just because I'm not the hugest fan of like the rave genre. 100% I could see this going crazy at a rave show or like driving 200 miles an hour down the highway. This song would be great. But it kind of doubles down on all the things that I didn't like about the first track just because I'm not super into that genre.
Yeah, man, this song would go real hard on a My Singing Monsters island. And then it, is just hyperpop after the first 15 seconds of My Singing Monsters. And then it turns into like Sonic Riders music. Pretty sick.
I said Rocket League.
Same vein, man. It's just everywhere. There's no formularity to this, and we're 2 songs in of 16 in 39 minutes. It doesn't ever get better from here, but this was certainly a cliff to look over, huh?
All right, well, I believe that cliff brings us on to song number 3, Nouveau Richie. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
6.5.
5.
4.
Yeah, I didn't like the beat much. It's all right with this track. The chorus is again just okay. I don't like how many effects they end up throwing on it. And there's something going on in the beat that sounds like a laser gun. Just like throw it on out of there. I don't like it. I don't want to hear it.
Which I did technically grow up some of the techno stuff. My dad had what were those Autobahn? Yeah, so I really had some of that. Those yeah.
The
Which,
good old German techno mixes.
Yep, the one Big Lebowski made fun of. That same album.
That's awesome.
And at one point, I did date a chick who was big into like techno and hardstyle and other EDM. So I do have a bit of a softer spot for it. So I like the samples, and I like the mix up to the rhythm they're using. Maybe a little bit of a Latin flair. Had kind of a not salsa pops to mind, but I don't think that's right.
It's all in the drums they used.
Yeah, so less layered in this one, but I can still dig the thinner sound, though I prefer more rich, fuller one.
Yeah, I was not expecting to hear those drum loops on this track. This one's too short, just first and foremost. It's another style thing. I think my scores are lower on these first 3 because of how much I like the other stuff that happens on this. Which there's not enough, I think. I think there's way too much of the rave stuff, but I think that's the genre of this. You guys do keep bringing up the vocals and the effects. I thought the vocal effects were the right amount. I didn't think it was... maybe it's because of some of the ones we've had on this show recently, but I thought it was an appropriate amount of vocal effects.
I don't think the effect amount is per se wrong. I think it's the way they were done. Completely is wrong. There's some sort of mix here that is just not right for hyperpop. And don't get me wrong, I don't know hyperpop like through and through, but I've listened to enough of what people would say are like the bigger hyperpop stuff. And this is just a lot of compression with robot to stretch the upper vocals completely, which is fine. But there's almost no compression, relatively speaking, on the rest of the track. So it's just like way choked out vocals turned up to the max. So it's like peaking vocally, which in theory would be a good sound for hyperpop. But everything else is so open and unchoked that it's just struggling to kind of grab anything. And the chorus on this song is gibberish.
All right, well, that brings us into track number 4. Fuck, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
7.5.
I give this one an 8.
I gave it 3.5.
Okay, so beat, buns, mix, horrendous, but in a good way. I do really like how visceral like the vocals end up feeling in this one. There's a lot of really cool kind of like artsy emotion that comes through with that. I just wish that other bits of the song were executed a little better. Like I wish the beat was a little bit better, and I wish that some of the drums on it were a little bit better. And it's like another like mix thing. I really agree with Logan. Like his mix is kind of god awful.
And I feel like they have more of a vibe going on in this one, liking the mix-up. Feels a bit more rock and roll now. Would have expected a much more aggressive song for that name. Get a little chill and spacey, I dig that. Could have come from the 90s, which is a good thing for me. Fuller sound, and I like what the guitar is doing.
Yeah, maybe it's because I instantly placed what I would use this song for, but I did not have issues with this beat. I thought it was pretty solid. Again, not like drowning it in vocal effects. I liked what was there. This song made me think that it would either be used in a movie I would probably watch or a TV show I would never in a million years consider watching. But it would fit great in both of those things.
Off rip, we start in falsetto, negative points. And then the vocoder, I don't love it. It's cranked and it's peaking, which in theory, yet again, should be a good sound. No. I think the way to also do hyperpop vocals, the way it makes the most sense in my brain and always has made sense, it may be completely improper according to the execs and higher standard people, is to sing it down an octave, take a vocoder, throw it up, throw that through autotune. That's how you get that robot-y sound, and you just have to actually still be a good singer. I feel like a lot of people, when they go for the hyperpop vocals, try to hit that pitch, purposefully aim under it, and then use a robot to catch the gap. That is a lot harder to make sound good than someone who's singing the proper pitch and you tune it up. And that is exactly what kind of happens a lot in this song. And then on top of that, you have a very, very crunchy bass guitar, and everything can't be crunchy. And it just gets real distorted. Also, the fact that we're track 4, and I think the word fuck has been said no less than 30 times on this album, presumably more. Don't get me wrong, me 2 years ago, you can see it in the album book club, I probably dropped at least 12 in a night. I'm just above that now. I've grown up a little past that word. I like the word crap now.
I'm still a fan of fuck.
Wait till I get to shoot. We're getting older as
Well, those are good fun
progressing,
mix-ups, though. Shoot, that's a good one.
or
I
dang
like
it.
Dag nabbit.
Dang nabbit. That's a good one.
Now, if you really want to go old Prospector, there's old Tarnation. But anyway, I'm getting us off track.
Gee Willikers.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Golly gee willikers. Let's move on to track 5, Bluebirds. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it an 8. But on the right here, I'm going to bump it up to an 8.5.
I give it a 6.5.
Give this one a 6.
Yeah, I actually like the beat in this one. I thought it was kind of crazy. I actually really like it. I don't think this one's too bad. It flows really well. The chorus is pretty fun. It's pretty upbeat, and it keeps that energy up, so it kind of helps you get through this track.
Yeah, I really like the voice layering, a nice flow and trip vibe. Chill, but with the fast paced vocals making me think of Modest Mouse a lot, which I do like me some Modest Mouse. Really vibing with his voice now. LOL, groovy sax, nice background piano, and the flute trills at the end.
I did have the obligatory saxophone comment on there.
I was worried that you'd forgotten about it. Yeah, I liked the bass on this song. I liked the brass. The first 4 lines are off time, but if it was any more, no, I was right the first time. Any less consistent than it was, I would say it was not on purpose. Barely scraped by, as I think he did that on purpose. But I don't want to say this song is boring, but there's so much less happening in this track than every other track so far that I'm kind of just, at least in the writing notes section of this, out of things to say.
I don't think he used a count-in on any of these because there's like 6 songs where he's just off time for the first like 4 lines. I wrote down a couple times later. But yeah, I think what ended up happening was he probably had a 1 beat or like a grace count-in instead of a full 4, which always take your full 4.
My only defense to that is, since this is definitely made in a DAW somewhere, you could just select those takes and move it back, like the 1 beat that it's off.
That's if you're on beat after that hearing the metronome. I'm assuming he's trying to catch his rhythm and then catches it.
Yeah, just cut the first 4 lines off and then move them back a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think they're in time with each other, though.
No, the first 4 are with each other. They're exactly the same amount off beat with themselves.
Oh, there's a few in here where he isn't, which is why I assumed it didn't get fixed. Because, yeah, there's one where he comes in on 2, ends on 1.5, comes in on 3, and it's just, it continually spaces itself out like that.
No, he's just on like 1.5 of everything in this at least the first 4 of this track specifically.
Yeah, this song specifically was just fine. Had some cool flute trills, and the end was very reminiscent of being in like a forest in Zelda. So do with that information what you will.
All right. Well, let's move on to track 6, Veni Vidi Vici. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Though I will say it did remind me of the Postal Service.
I gave it a 5.
Gave it a 5.7.
Yeah, this one's just all right. The chorus is fun. The beat kind of helps push you through the song, but it just gets stale over time. There's not much variation, and the chorus is pretty repetitive, so it gets boring after a second.
Immediately right back into the hyperpop stuff. I did not like the plucked synth sample, and this song has pretty much, I think, all of my problems with rave music all at once. It's just too much of the same thing over and over again.
Yep. Look, it's the same crap we've been saying the whole time. Beat's fine, flow's fine, vocals are done wrong, but they're fine. Everything is just fine. Nothing's on fire yet.
Yet. All right, well, that brings us to track 7, We Don't Leave the House. I gave it a 6.75 out of 10.
6.85.
You had to one-up me there.
I didn't have one. Psychically, I guess.
He's lying to you. He looked at your phone just now.
For sure. He's pulling what I did with Carl.
7.5.
4.5.
All right. This feels like almost a different style of hyperpop. I kind of like it a little bit more. The beat is fun. It has a great drive to it, and like the actual vocals here are halfway decent. I felt like they were pretty good in this song. So yeah, it gets a higher score. Pretty fun.
Thought that keyboard intro was super cool. All right, I guess we're back to doing X and waving glow sticks now. Cool. Like the richness that it reaches. Gets very full sounding. Gets a nice bonus to the singing at points that I like. Keyboard layering is super cool.
Despite my notes for the last track, I did like this one. The synth is like main synth lead is doing a lot on its own, and the rest of it sounds like an early 2000s radio like club track, which is why I'm shocked Logan gave it such a low score.
He moaned at me in auto-tune.
That'll do it.
No. And then, look, there's a reason why the like mid-2000s club tracks are dead and gone. And it's because they had one good thing, and it was will.i.am as a producer, and that was it. They all sounded the exact same, so they were all bangers. This just wasn't produced by him, and has the exact same pitfalls of nothing going on, but a whole lot of energy. This is like drinking just the caffeine part of an energy drink. It's like you get the kick, but you get none of the good flavors of like a Red Bull.
All right. Well, that brings us into track number 8, Foreigner. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I gave it a 6/7.35.
All right. I gave it a 6.
Give it a 5 and I'll get this out the way.
I love that we have Steven back in spirit.
Always in spirit.
Yeah, I like how the beat is trying really hard to drive the song forward, but it just lacks the impact that it needs to pull that off. Like, it's fast, but it's not driving the song forward. It kind of just makes it feel like the fastest slog of your lifetime. Overall, it's not too bad. It just didn't leave any sort of impression on me at all. It was kind of just like if Gray Sludge was a song.
Plankton Krabby Patties were a song.
Pretty much, yeah.
I did like the dark sound of the bass, and we're back to that hardstyle sound, which, again, from Dating That One Chick, I did have a handful of those kind of EDM songs I did enjoy. So in the right circumstances, I like this song more, right drugs and environment sort of thing.
This song has so much energy that after listening to it, I got tired thinking about him doing this at a live show. I didn't love how bit crushed everything was, but I didn't hate the video game sounds in the background. Other than that, it's okay.
If this guy could pull off a live show, I would genuinely be surprised.
I'm fairly certain Hades told us he went to this show.
Was that this one?
This is one of the ones he brought up.
Oh, I didn't. Jeez, oh, Pete's. I don't think hyperpop and live shows go together well. But I think that's because you're paying too much to see too not raw of a sound, Like, the whole point of hyperpop is how glitched out and broken everything is. Unless I'm seeing you plug your mic into like a bit crusher right in front of me and like a synth pedal and go, whoa, and shit like that, that gotta be just like a dude on stage with a vocoder on his mic walking around.
I mean, that's what I assume. I've been to one show like that, and that's just what I assume it is. I think I'm wrong, but
it's also the same way like rap shows are boring for the same reason. It's just a big listening party.
Pretty much what all concerts are.
No, usually it's someone trying to play like they did on the record. Like, pop shows are like a different breed of boring. The only rapper I would say that I will never say I like anything about him other than this is Tyler, the Creator. Puts on a damn good show. Everyone else, oh gosh, Gravy was probably one of the most boring shows I've ever been at in my life.
I forgot we were all at that show.
We were all at that show.
We were all at that show.
The one in Bogarts wasn't too bad.
God,
No, it was
Bogarts
everything
and
he's
forever.
complaining about. It was just, there's too many people. I think we were hallucinating the show from like crowd crush.
Yeah, it's just like, man, guy with microphone on stage with backing tracks. Come on.
All right. Well, next track is track number 9, which is titled 9. I gave it a 6.5.
After the drive here, I'm going to bump it up a little bit. I'm going to give it a 7.
I gave it a 7.
Give it a 4.5.
Yeah. Again, I kind of liked this beat. I still think the mix is kind of crap. The vocals sound alright in this one. I like how it's kind of pulled back a little bit. It's an alright spot for a song like that. Overall, it's just kind of okay.
Part of what the Drive did here to help boost this song, I just noticed with We Don't Leave the House and Foreigner, like we'll say speed wise, We Don't Leave the House was at a 7, and then Foreigner goes up to like a 9 or a 10. And yeah, you mentioned that feeling tired afterwards. Then bam, 9 comes in like perfectly, like, hey, let's chill out a little bit. So yeah, nice to chill back down. Voice is sounding a little cartoony at points, which I wasn't feeling, but the background music is hella pretty, like the trippy layers that weave in, and the piano is pretty. Spacey bits are the best. And I guess I was feeling his vocals a little bit more in the car, because I didn't have that same thought. It didn't pop to mind then, so I guess it just vibe better in the car. Again.
Yeah. Placement is what is putting this song on a pedestal. We needed a break right here, and this is, in the nicest way I can say this, while also sitting on this couch, this is an interlude track. It also got +1 point for being track 9, while also being named 9. Because if they put 9 at like track 11, I'd be mad. I didn't mean to do that.
This song was boring. Look, we're not even 22 minutes into this track or into this album. By come slow down time, it's Hyperpop. There shouldn't be a slowdown. It's this song. If you can call it a slowdown, I don't even think you can call it a song. Really, this is like the spine and ribcage of a song. And everything else decided to bugger off and go do its own thing in another room somewhere else. There's just nothing here except a robo growl that gets really annoying.
Speaking of annoying, next track 10, it is what it is. I gave it a 5 out of 10.
After listening again, I'm bumping it down to a 6.
I gave it a 6.
Give it a 5.
Don't you go whining in my ear with that vocoded voice. That's stupid. I didn't like that at all. Not right at the start of the song. At least, wait a second. It gets really repetitive, like real quick. It kind of blends in with the rest of the stuff we've heard on the album. It really doesn't stand out other than some like annoying parts of the vocals.
Yeah, and I don't know, something about such a cliche phrase being used makes the song even less enjoyable. I don't know, I guess I like the keyboard bass, and because it sounds a little too muddy for me in this one and didn't feel right for the song.
Yeah, I didn't have a ton written here. It was a good transition from the last song into this one. This one really just didn't do much for me. It's not super good or super bad. I really just was okay with it. I did write that the synth chords at the end were fun until they got insane and dipped back into hyperpop. But like the build up to it was really nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Look, man. It's just not great. I think that this album has a really hard time sticking to what the heck it is. So it does everything in sections. And this is the start of this kind of section where it's like whiny robo voice meets like kind of empty music. And I don't think I'm a fan of that section. That's just not me.
Yeah, it's kind of just boring. And speaking of boring, track number 11, Modafinil. I think that's how you say that. I gave it a 6 out of 10, and I'll get this out of the way.
6.75.
6.
4.5.
I don't know, I didn't have much to say about it. I guess there was a really pretty sound they used for the keyboard, and the mix up to the tempo at least keep the song kind of interesting.
This song was boring.
Yeah, I said kind of interesting.
I didn't mind the vocals on this track. This is, I think, the most hyperpop one we've had so far, and I did not like this style of 808s in the background.
Yeah. This is the one where he just continually could not catch the beat at all.
Oh, I have that on a couple tracks down.
That too. This one was just like kind of rough. And the intro itself was just not very good, which I think is why there was a struggle. And then just lots of bad vocals, frankly. It got real whiny and thin, which is impressive with a vocoder and big crusher and compressor. But yeah, it got real thin and quiet, and that was just not good.
Yep. All right. Track 12.
I was going to keep it going.
Polo Ponies. 6.5 out of 10.
7.25.
7.
6.5.
A weird acoustic track out of nowhere. Kind of fun. It made me feel like it was really out of place, but I liked it. It was kind of pretty, and I absolutely loathe how it ends. That was stupid.
Yeah, nice grandpa's guitars. Digging the strings. I do prefer when they're more straight up rock. A nice drifting and dreamy quality that I like. Always great keyboard work. Borderline church organ there, that's kind of neat. And it's nice to hear positive lyrics sometimes.
Yeah, I really liked the guitar sample throughout. It's a little slow, but I liked it. It feels out of place when compared to the other songs, but if you look at this album, like the name of the album and the album art and everything, it fits that. It just doesn't fit what we've heard so far.
Yeah. I think if you were going to slow down anywhere, this was the place, and this is a fine song to do it with. It's got a good movement to it. Very, very actually solid job on this one, except the outro is terrible because it just cuts off and the next song kicks.
Right. Speaking of the next song, track 13, I Love You and It Sounds Stupid. I gave it a 5.75 out of 10.
7.15.
7.
4.5.
I just could not get into this one. I don't really like the beat. I don't really like the vocals. I don't really have anything positive to say about it. So, yeah, that's really it. I just didn't really like it. I couldn't get into it. It's not for me.
Yeah, I thought it was some good night drives. A good night drive song. I liked the lady. I thought she had a pretty voice, and it had some nice variety. And yeah, I just really like it when he sounds like Modest Mouse. So I forget exactly what I meant here. Because I wrote also like that wah 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 wah. If I heard it again, I'd be like, oh, that's what I meant by that.
The Iron Mouse song?
No, not Iron Mouse.
Iron Mouse.
Oh, that's a brain rot. I'll show you it later. It's terrible.
All right.
Is it going to be your song of the day this week?
Hell no.
It'll be my song of the day this week.
Couldn't pay me to listen to that thing all the way through.
Well, luckily, you don't have to. I have to.
You do, yeah.
The timing at the beginning is iffy at best on this track. I like that we're slowing down a little bit, and this track would go much later in the season or in the movie from earlier. The movie I would watch or the TV show I would avoid like the plague.
Yeah, timing was a little screwy, like you said. There's also just some sour notes in the actual intro itself. There's a couple of like half step either direction off, and that's a little screwy. And then when the vocals actually come in, they are the worst mixed pile of dog crap I've ever heard in my life. They're so far buried in the mix, and they're like trying to bring it up, right? Except they bring everything else up at the same rate, so they stay just as quiet until they eventually just like fwa in, and then they're still too compressed. It's just not good. Bad vocals.
Yeah, next track's gonna continue that trend. Crying, laughing, loving, crying. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
7.35.
5.5.
Give us a 5.
I feel like this is very similar to the previous track, but just a little bit better. It's also just increasingly vulgar throughout the track, which I didn't know we had returned to grade school.
Oh yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that as much. And man, do you guys hate the Postal Service? Because man, this song really made me think of the Postal Service. Because I thought it had a good slow build up, then we really get jogging, and then so on and so forth. So I thought it did good with its mix ups and build ups, and I thought it had a fun bounce and pace.
I was not a huge fan of the lead synth on this one. The drums are exactly what you expect. The vocals, they add a little bit too much effects. It's not like the worst we've seen on the show, but it's probably the worst we've seen on the album. This one overall just kind of wasn't my favorite track.
Yeah. I think the way that this song moved was actually fine. From point A to point B, which is start to beginning, or start to end. I think it was fine. Everything went fine. Everything in there sucked. But the actual way we got there was fine. The vocals had great energy, but were the worst mixed thing ever. They're just terrible. The hyperpop stuff is just, there's just a gap there. There's some sort of gap in what hyperpop is and what hyperpop sounds like to this guy. And that it's like, we're talking a very small gap, but it's just that difference, you know, is like we're talking 1 p.m. and 12 a.m. or whatever the heck. The difference in time span there is far greater than it looks on a clock. That's just what it is here. It's just not great.
All right. Well, let's get into track 15. Weird. I gave this one a 4.75 out of 10.
5.
4.
4.
Yeah, the title is correct. This one's weird. I hate this beat. A lot of things are just used wrong. I don't want to be too mean to it, but like all of the effects are used just very poorly. It feels like the beat was built by someone who like didn't know how to build anything.
This beat was built by Tony Stark in a cave with a box of scraps.
Pretty much.
Yeah, fits its name. Discordant and jumbled feeling in a way I do not like. Kind of grating. Not feeling it.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty established that I'm not a huge rave and hyperpop fan, but this one is the most rave or hyperpop track we've heard so far. I'm sure this is somebody's favorite on this album, but it is most definitely not mine. At least it was short, is the last note I have written here.
Yeah, this is another one where the intro was just a snowball of bad timing. And then, yeah, the entire beat and flow of this song is enough to send someone into an anxiety and or asthma attack, whether they try and sing along or just jam. So I wasn't feeling it.
All right. Well, that brings us to our last track, track 16, Biddy and K. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
I gave it an 8.
6.5.
I gave it a 7.
Yeah, this one is weirdly nice after everything we've heard. The entire vibe and genre have been swapped to something else. Everything here is just pleasant to listen to. I was really into it. It's just so out of place that, like, it feels like he should just make music that sounds like this. Like, don't just abandon hyperpop. It doesn't sound good. If you made music that sounds like this all the time, you'd be like famous or whatever.
Like famous or whatever, and by that he means bigger.
Yeah, I think the guy has a nice voice.
Yeah.
I guess I prefer when he goes more natural. I don't know, that classic love song feel, very pretty. Like the rhythm of the vocals and the way it flows, like how it builds its layers over the song. Good sample use at the end.
scrolled all the way back to the top of my notes, forgetting that I haven't talked yet.
Yep.
I really didn't have much. I didn't write it down anywhere, but I think I'm gonna go thumbs up on this one because I really just have. It's a good vibe for the ending, and it's just a pretty solid track.
Yeah, minus the fact that the vocals need some compression tweaking. Everything else is great. This is an actual gem of a song on this album. I was genuinely surprised to like not go home mad at the end of this one.
Yeah, at least he saved the best for last. That was cool.
That is like, you know, of all the things that could go wrong, right? Like this album for me was the flat tire to the like 2 minutes late punch in to the boss making you have a meeting that could have been an email to the I missed my lunch break. And then you come home and your wife made you a sirloin. And the game is on. That's what just happened, man. Diabolical.
All right, well, I believe that brings us into pacing. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 6.
Give it a 2.
This is the longest 30 minutes of your life.
This is, oh man, I talk about like miserable slogs on this album or on this show. This is the worst in like 2 ways. One, there's 16 songs. That's just sheer quantity too many. 2, there's no room for anything to go anywhere. Everything is so concisely the same thing for 2.5 minutes that you're listening to every genre that he wants to do of these 16 songs. And because it's 16 songs, things are like 3-song or 4-song sectioned out in specific genres. Like this is one style of hyperpop, this is the next. There's just no concise image here of anything. It feels like a bunch of EPs that just got glued together into an album, and it is 40 minutes on paper. I swear this was an hour-and-a-half album.
Yeah, see, a lot of those that you listed as negatives were kind of positives for me. I really like that there's songs that like, oh, this one doesn't seem like it should fit in here. I don't know. I guess I dig it when an artist is kind of like, you know what, fuck it, I feel like doing this. So for me, I don't know if I have any sort of ADD or something like that, but when they kind of bounce around like that, for me, it's a little easier to stay interested. Like when we're on the same tone and the same note for too long, that's when I start to have trouble keeping focus myself. So
I wouldn't mind if it was like bounce, 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 but it was like bounce, walk a line, bounce, walk a line, bounce, walk a line. I was like, oh man, we're like just lane hopping.
Yeah, and that's the main thing that I complain about with the pacing. It just feels so much longer than it actually is because of how repetitive some of the things get within their certain sections. Like, because we're getting it all in a lump sum and not, like, truly mixed variety, it gets a little stale by the end of these sections. Like, you can kind of see the ebb and flow of the album. Like, when we get something new, the scores go up a little bit, but then we listen to it for, 6.5, 7 minutes, and the scores start to go down. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think I didn't have as much problem with the lane hopping as you did, Logan. But I do think I think my issue mostly is that every track is like a minute long, and there's no like exploration of the sound. It's just either, with maybe like 3 or 4 exceptions, here's the hyperpop beat I made. It's going to repeat 3 times, and then you're going to move on to the next one. Mm-hmm. It's a shorter album, so I'm not going to dock it too many points, but the track length is insane. Too many tracks.
Too many tracks for not enough growth. And that's what sucks is EDM tracks and stuff like that to me are 3 to 4 minutes. And hyperpop is usually 1:30. Mm. So this is like clearly cutting down the middle of those two. And that's just a weird, those two things yet again are like way further but closer at the same time than they should be. So those are 11 and 1 on the clock, they're here, but this gap is a lot of time.
All right. Well, that's going to take us into album art, and I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 4.
I give it a 7.
I liked it. I thought it looked neat.
Look, I'll give it its points where its points are due. Having the name of the album on his jersey is cool. It's just kind of okay as a picture. It's fine.
Sports are lame and gay. And I used to play soccer, and I was actually pretty decent at it, but God, I'd rather die than watch it.
I enjoy soccer. So, good, cool image of football.
Actually, hold on. I might give it another point. Click his name real quick. How many albums does he have? If the number being like the third album, if that was his third album, I would give it back 2 points right now. He has like 1,000 albums.
This is number 8.
Yeah.
Dang.
If that number on the back of his jersey was an 8, it would have gone up 2
Look
points
at that
right
single
now.
art, though.
I don't know how I feel about that.
That's the worst part.
It's not great.
Oh,
I don't even know what I'm looking at.
That's a shirtless gentleman.
Okay, yeah,
That's the single
that's pretty
from this
lame
album.
too.
that's the single from this album.
Yeah, but look at this single.
That one's good.
It's one that's actually in theme with the
Are
penalty
you
kick.
telling me the other one's
Yeah.
not in theme? He's got the trophy.
It's got the. He also got no clothes on.
I'm aware of that.
That's why it's my bottom song.
Hey, where your clothes at?
All right. Well, let's do our album overall. Overall, I'm going to give this album a 6 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I gave it a 5.
Yeah, mostly this album isn't for me, but there are a lot of other like technical issues going on, especially like the mix. The mix needs a lot of work, as well as using some of those effects in a way that's going to help you instead of hurt you. The genre at the end is much better than the rest of the album. I feel like you should really lean into that sound more. But, you know, you're going to make whatever art you'd like to make, and if you fix some of the technical issues with the hyperpop stuff, it would actually sound good.
I'll say he's like 8 albums in. I think picking his style might already be done.
Yeah, he did that. He's his own man now.
It just sucks that track 16 was so good.
Yeah, for me, I guess I had plenty of I don't know how to put this. Reference points in my brain for the help tickle me in a good way. You know, between Modest Mouse, Postal Service, and a handful of EDM and hardstyle songs I do like. You know, because those positive associations and lack of knowledge on what hyperpop is, kind of helps me out a lot. And yeah, especially on the drive here, I did enjoy it more. I think you guys mentioned that car audio mixing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does feel and sound more right in a car, and it just fits the groove of that. So I did like a couple of songs, so that always goes further.
To clarify something, this is his third album. He has a couple of EPs that Apple Music lists as albums, but this is his third album.
If that is like official somewhere that is his third album, I will give 2 points back on album art.
And I will take one to be spiteful.
And I'm going to give it another one to be spiteful to Dave.
Yeah, overall, this is an album that I don't think is for me, which is fine. I respect that this is not a genre I am super into. Although, if you had shown me this in season 1, drop every score by like 4, it would have been a much worse review had we not been doing this show.
Yeah, I think frankly it probably would have done better had we not been doing this show out of me. There's just too much reference for hyperpop. It exploded, especially with TikTok. TikTok made hyperpop a thing, really. It was around before then, but it didn't get big until everyone could put most of their song in a video on TikTok, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's all it rings to me. It's music that is younger than me. Its target audience is way younger than me. It's not, I don't want to say mature enough, because that makes me sound like I'm a real pompous
Hot chopped and
douche
unk.
that only listens to like Mozart, but there's just a certain level of I need a level of deepness to my lyrics, or I need there to be a coy level of not deepness to my lyrics. You know, I can deal with funny satirical stuff, or I can deal with something that's got a little ebb and flow to the thing. I don't need everything to be so surface level and just so like you know, everything here is stuff that I feel like is just kind of generic 20-year-old problems, and that's cool. I've had those problems myself. I don't want to listen to a hyperpop song about it, frankly. And that's fine, but I can also see how if I was in like high school, this would be a pretty good listen to me, I guess. You know, a lot of things that are problems that I feel like I understand because I'm so close to that age, but I don't get them. You know, that's like the age range I think for this album. Even then, I think at the most this album could ever be a 7, and if you want to look at it from a technical aspect, the lowest it could ever be is a 3. So,
All right.
Well, Connor, what are we listening to next week?
Yeah, for sure. Next week, we will be listening to Comfort Eagle by Cake, suggested during last week's live. Hades, if you're still here, I'm going to respond to your message about that, and that album's probably going to be for next week, or the week after that, but there's one kind of in the priority queue.
a little bit cute.
Man, I don't particularly like Cake.
That's crazy.
It's a diabolical statement.
You're 1v3 tomorrow.
To make this count.
It depends on what style of cake it is.
Chocolate.
Don't really like chocolate cake.
Cooked. We're going to give you a strawberry shortcake, actually.
You know what? I think I'd prefer pineapple upside down.
I can make that happen.
Ugh,
All right.
pineapple. Ugh.
I can't have them either. They're gross.
Yeah, indeed they are.
If you have made it this far, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons and leave a comment of your favorite artists, EPs, and albums for us to check out in an upcoming video, and we will do so.
Don't use your favorite. We'll tear it to shreds. Or do use your favorite and then
We'll tear
be
it to
mad at
shreds.
us.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at us. We're warning you.
As long as it's not threatening to take our skin off.
Actually, that's the only acceptable response.
We got another essay on that one this week.
Oh, yeah, we need to read that.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
do.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.